Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Embracing the Chaos. This is a series of live Facebook events I'm going to have for a couple of weeks. As I mentioned last time, this is sort of my way of applying my skills to what's relevant in the world today. The topic I'm going to cover today is the number one idea, the number one goal or vision you should have for your business in this crisis. I'm sorry to say we even have to have these events, but let's hang together and learn together as we move forward. But first, I have some good news. We all could use some good news. I have found the ultimate cure for the coronavirus blues, and it is this: Cinnamon Toast Crunch coffee creamer. Now, this is not an ad, of course not. I don't do stuff like that. But dude, Cinnamon Toast coffee creamer? Are you kidding me? As a kid, we used to maybe eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal because it wouldn't make us fat. But look, we don't do it anymore because of all the sugar. But Cinnamon Toast Coffee Creamer, this is like in a different food category, right? I mean, it's probably healthier, right? So just testing this out for you, because I wouldn't do it unless this was really good. Yes, definitely heady bouquet with undertones of cinnamon and overtones of cinnamon, as one would expect. So it is truly delicious. It makes me happy. Maybe it'll make you happy. Maybe it'll be a little luxury to help you cure your coronavirus blues today. And of course, it is a super, super tough time. I've spent the last, really every day this week, talking to people almost nonstop. And, there's a lot of suffering in our world right now, and I just need to acknowledge that and just hope that everybody is hanging in there as best that they can. So today, a couple of quick ground rules. First, I want to thank Dr. I of Classrooms Without Walls. She is helping me. She's going to monitor your questions. So at any time during my talk today, I'm just going to talk briefly today. We'll try to limit this to 30 minutes. I think that worked last time. Dr. I is going to be monitoring the questions and sort of curating that for me so I can do a better job multitasking. Keep your questions high level. We can't really get into, I think, individual business problems and go down a rabbit hole, or we'll lose everybody else. So thank you, Dr. I, and please feel free to add your questions and comments all along. So on a personal note, we're hanging in here. We're self-isolating here in Tennessee, and I'm facing my first personal challenge. Last night, a crown came off my tooth. And so the jagged edge of my tooth is biting into my tongue right now. So I might be talking a little funny, but most alarming is my dentist is closed. Oh no, Mr. Bill. So could be an interesting couple of days. So let's get into our topic. Now, first, I think it's important to briefly review where we were last time, what I covered on the first episode of this series. We talked about embracing the chaos, how really the history of business has been a series of chaotic events, and the businesses that survive are the ones that transcend these chaotic events. We talked about the most important thing is that, first of all, you have to embrace the chaos that's within yourself. You shouldn't have to feel guilty or ashamed that you're feeling fearful right now. This is legitimate. It's okay. I talked about how we're in a period of grieving. All of us are. And so are our customers. And that's the filter we need to use in our businesses right now. We need to connect with people as though they're grieving. We need to connect with people as though they're at a funeral. How would you connect with somebody? How would you sell to somebody as if they were at a funeral? You wouldn't offer them a coupon or a discount. You'd say, how can I help you right now? How can me and my business serve you and help get you through your loss? Because there is a lot of tragedy going on. It's almost overwhelming to hear the stories of my friends and the struggles they're going through right now. The other main point I made in the first episode was this idea of reimagining your business in this moment. I gave examples that showed that what was our core, what was our competency, what was serving our customers a week ago may not be relevant today. I gave an example in my own life of how I was doing consulting for a business in Miami, and we had a call scheduled and we never got it scheduled. And I said, what happened? And they said, well, our supply chain is up in the air now, and it's 50% of our business, and we're in crisis mode. So I was relevant to them a week ago. I'm not relevant today. So I have to rethink what I do. I have to rethink what are my core competencies and be relevant to people in this moment of crisis. All right? Now, let's talk about this new idea of what is the number one vision for your business right now if you're struggling. Some businesses, are going to be doing great. Amazon's going to do fine. Walmart's going to do fine. Almost anybody that's in the medical business, or if you're delivering food of any kind, you're probably going to be okay. But if you're struggling, what is the goal right now? So I want to tell you a little story from my past that I think illustrates this concept very, very well. Early in my career, I was a sales leader for a big company called Alcoa. At that time, Alcoa was a Fortune 100 company. Alcoa was a Dow Jones Industrial, a blue chip company, a very, very well-run company. And I had a great experience with my career there. So one time when I was a sales leader, we were having terrible quality problems with one of our customers. We were shutting them down. They were missing their delivery shipments. And so I had lunch with the president of the company. And I said to him, quite frankly and honestly, I said, we are doing such a bad job for you right now. Why are you sticking with Alcoa? I don't understand it. And why wouldn't you go and use some of our competitors? And he said, well, let me tell you about our history with Alcoa. This company, my company, was started by my father. And during World War II, we almost went out of business because the business that the packaging business that we were in wasn't relevant anymore. And we had to retool and reinvent ourselves for the war effort. We were running out of cash, we were running out of time, and Alcoa, our aluminum supplier at the time, came to our rescue. And they helped us in this moment of crisis. They helped us retool our plant. They gave us the technical support to pivot in this time. They even helped finance some of the equipment that we needed to survive and to be relevant in this crisis. And my father, the person who founded this company, as he was dying in the hospital, said to me, never leave Alcoa. They brought us to the dance. They made us who we are today. And that's why they stuck with us, even when we were having hard times. And that was a very powerful lesson to me, that we need to band together in these times. And look, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I'm not that kind of person. There's a lot of rah stuff out there about, don't be afraid and don't be frightened. And if you're afraid, you're just, playing a victim mentality. And look, there are people who aren't going to make it to the other side. But here is the opportunity. And here is the vision of this time we're in, really almost for any business. We have to put ourselves in this mindset like my customer did, right? Like Alcoa did in this period of crisis, that in this period we have a choice. We can be greedy and opportunistic, or we can fight to make it to the other side. And we can do it in a way that's caring and human-centered and relevant to our customers. And we can do the right thing until it hurts. That's what people are going to remember on the other side. If you want to survive and be stronger and be a leader on the other side, you've got to demonstrate that now, right? It's hard times. It's a crisis, but the number one vision is we have to do what we need to do to make it to the other side. That includes cutting our cost, reserving our cash. I think we need to think very carefully about our marketing. The research shows in a very compelling way that the companies that thrive and survive in this type of crisis spend more on marketing. This has been seen, in different recessions. Obviously we've never seen anything like we're in right now, but we need, for some businesses, we need to double down on our marketing as we sort of embark on this vision of fighting hard and making it to the other side, not in a way that's greedy. I had a call with my friend Andy Crestadina yesterday. If you don't follow Andy, he's a wonderful guy, great friend, and generous guy. And he was saying how he's in negotiation with this hotel because he has to cancel an event, and he could be out, tens of thousands of dollars, and this hotel isn't budging. Let me tell you something. We're going to be around after this crisis, and that hotel is going to be around after this crisis. And people like us will never do business with a hotel like that in this crisis, right? So part of the survival strategy is we've got to treat people in a way that that will help enable loyalty in the long term. Fight to get to the other side. Fight to enable loyalty right now. Do the right thing, even if it hurts. All right? That is my main message for today. And we'll take a few minutes here and open it up for questions. As I said, Dr. She has been following this for me, and she is monitoring this. She says, David Carino says, agree. A friend of mine offered a 95% discount on her Instagram course in Spain, and man, she had some nasty comments, which I can understand. I think this is we have to really be, we got to be careful about this. We have to be patient about this, that we're not offering deals that are tone deaf. I want to emphasize again, every single person we are working with is grieving. They're in crisis. I mean, it's unimaginable already, and this thing is just starting. It's unimaginable, the suffering that I'm hearing from my friends and my customers. This week I've been on the phone almost nonstop, just coaching people and lifting them up, and There have been a time or two where both of us have been crying because of the profound suffering and loss that's going on right now. And we can't be tone deaf in our marketing and our advertising. When people are grieving, they don't need a discount. They don't need a coupon, right? They don't need leadership classes, right? We need to be human and connect where people are right now. This is from Enrico, my friend in Orlando. Businesses need to be more human than ever right now. From a communication standpoint, we've all had enough of the boilerplate emails. Communicate with empathy, kindness, which means telling the truth. That's a beautiful sentiment, Enrico, and certainly very true. And I think, one of the things that's been so interesting for me to observe is how long it's taken for these businesses to adjust. Believe it or not, this morning I saw an ad for a company that will help you create your fantasy baseball team. Baseball was canceled. That ad doesn't help. I think the thing that's puzzling to me is it doesn't take long to turn off ads. I really just can't think of a scenario where you would somehow be encumbered or committed in a way that you can't turn off ads even if you've paid for them, right? I think it's more important to be sensitive than to, commit these dollars, and your advertising is tone deaf. So, Enrico, thank you for that. Gary says, as a collective group of human beings with loyalty similar to the story of Alcoa, it's time to stop the negative narratives and focus on positive advocacy. And that's a very difficult challenge, isn't it? Because we're dealing with our own grieving, right? And one of the things that I'm just determined to think through is that leaders dispense hope. And one of the things that's on my heart right now is that's what I'm built to do. And that's what I'm determined to do. Even, as I'm going through, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast here that I'm experiencing my own pain because I lost a crown last night and this jagged tooth is cutting into my tongue. But I'm here to dispense hope, and I'm here to be here for you in any way that I can. Also from Gary, making it to the other side is fine if you're not trying to retain your grip on the past status quo. This is a period of great positive evolution if we all embrace it and envision what we're moving toward. And I know Gary, I don't think you mind me saying, is in the insurance business. And talk about an opportunity to reinvent yourself and reimagine yourself for the pain and suffering that's going on right now. Insurance is all about caring and protection, right? So all of us have to think about what are the core competencies of our business? What are the core skills that we have that are relevant today, relevant in this moment when people are grieving? Let's see. This is from Rod McMillan. We are fighting hard in Scotland, UK. Getting our people to change pace is challenging. Why? Well, there's probably a lot behind your question, Rod, that I'll have to interpret. And, I see this really in every kind of business, that people are sort of locked into the way they're doing business, even in the good times, right? Sell, 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 always be closing. Marketing and advertising and doing public relations in ways that aren't relevant to the way our customers connect to the world today. So even in good times, this is really hard. I think this time that we're in is going to be a test of corporate culture. The corporate cultures, every company says, oh, the customers are the heart of our business. Yeah, really? Let's see what happens when times are hard. Because as I mentioned, if you're opportunistic and greedy and tone deaf, people are going to remember that. We are not going to be doing business with those companies when we get to the other side, right? So it's a challenge even in the best of times. My friend Dr. Ackerman says, I've been volunteering my time as a coach to do free sessions for organizations that provide healthcare services. These people are so stressed out that I feel it is my duty to do what I can do virtually. I've promised no selling, and they will come. Oh, I'm getting emotional. God bless you, Dr. Ackerman. They will come back to me later when they need me. So thank you. Just thinking about the stress on our healthcare system right now. Sorry for. No, I'm not sorry. The stress on our healthcare system and anything we can do to support the people who are supporting us in a crisis is absolutely essential right now. So, Dr. Ackerman, thank you. And she is a medical doctor. I believe Dr. Ackerman is a pediatrician, I want to say, in Virginia area. Sarah, I keep seeing Charmin ads on TV. Are you not selling enough TV right now? Oh, yeah. Charmin, that tagline, enjoy the go, never quite bought onto that one. John Dale Beckley, who is out in the middle of the ocean somewhere on his island where he lives. Mark, what do you think about companies using humor with their staff to get through this period? Well, excuse me. I think that's an important part of being a leader right now. As I mentioned, I think number one thing we need to keep in our minds is leaders dispense hope, right? I had this leader when I was in the corporate world. He was the president of our company, and the only thing he had on his desk was a little sign that said "Leaders dispense hope." And when you get right down to it, in terms of transparency, in terms of communication, in terms of how you're connecting to people, even in a virtual world right now, it really gets down to that. Leaders dispense hope. And I think one of the important things we can do right now is use humor. If you came in late to this broadcast, you might go back and see the beginning. I did something a little humorous because I think that's important. There's a lot of positive physical and psychological benefits to humor that we need right now. We need to make humor a part of our life every single day right now, and I think it's not just a part of lifting people up psychologically. I think that's an important part of leadership. This is from Kate. It's okay. I've teared up quite a bit this week too. It's just I think just listening to the stories of my friends who are suffering, and literally in every single part of their lives, especially if you're going through this with children who are scared, who are locked in, who are having their sports canceled, their graduations canceled, they can't connect to their friends, they can't go on their spring break. If you did go on your spring break, shame on you, by the way. I've been overwhelmed at times this week because I can handle my own grieving and my own situation, but I've just been in the middle of all of my friends grieving too, and it just sort of once in a while gets to a breaking point where I just have nothing really left other than to just sort of pray for my friends, pray for their children. I have friends who can't get the medical attention they need right now, and like I said, this is really just starting. Jonathan says, I see many people offering free services, and some say you should absolutely not start discounting your services. What's the best course of action? Need a little bit of this Cinnamon Toast Crunch coffee for a minute. Makes me happy. I'm exercising. I'll pay for that later. So, Jonathan, look, here's one of the things that is a bit upsetting to me. I got an email request yesterday from someone doing a Roundup article, Roundup blog post, and I generally tend to help people with these things. And the question was something like this: should businesses continue their advertising in this period? Should people continue their marketing period? And if you followed me for any period of time, you'll know this phrase that I use. The answer to every question in marketing is this: it depends. There's no cookie cutter answer, right? And so to ask a question like, should everybody keep advertising? I don't know. It depends on your business, really. Now, I've already talked about this idea that you need to pay attention to your marketing right now. And I'm not saying this to sell marketing services. That's the last thing on my mind right now. I'm talking about research, right? I approach things scientifically. I approach things in a methodical way. I want you to run your businesses in the world that is, not the world that we wish it to be. And the world is crappy right now. But the research shows that the companies that make to the other end, they do spend more on marketing right now, right? Maybe that means advertising. Maybe that means discounts. I think if we think about how do we apply our resources, how do we apply our skills to this moment? Look, we do have people who are suffering. I'm cutting to the bone right now, right? I mean, my business is dried up. I've got to really bunker down here to make it to the other side. And so in certain examples, I might appreciate a discount, right? I've had some of my vendors and suppliers and partners, come to me or cooperate with me and say, look, we'll think about our contracts in a different way. That's been very helpful right now, right? So I can't provide a universal answer. The only thing I can say is just adopt this mindset to just be incredibly emotionally intelligent and think about people as if they're at a funeral. What would people need if they're grieving in this moment? That's really the best emotional intelligence that we can have right now. Rod says, thanks for your commentary. Certainly are having the reality of fancy rhetoric about customers being at the center of everything that we do. We're getting a lot more real all of a sudden. Hopefully I'm dispensing some of that hope and using humor. Gary says, another important thought is mental health. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're 2 weeks into this, at least in the US. Isolation combined with all the media is not good. I turned off the TV last night and got on the treadmill for 45 minutes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, my commitment to myself is I'm definitely going to exercise every day. I mean, there was another period of my life where I was under incredible stress, and I actually was a runner for the first time in my life. Got up to 6 miles a day. I don't have the knees to do that anymore. But I took a bike ride myself yesterday. Self-isolating on a bike. When the weather gets a little bit better, I'll be able to, go out and do hiking and maybe swimming in the lake or something. And this is something that certainly doesn't threaten other people, so that's very important. Anna Conhado from she's in the Oxford area of the UK. To continue to be able to help others, we need to stay well. How are others managing to stay positive and hopeful? That's a really message that I hit hard in the first episode of this broadcast, where I said to embrace the chaos of our time, we have to first embrace the chaos within ourselves. We have to acknowledge what's going on and go through the stages of grief and get to that point of acceptance. And some people chimed in and said, Mark, you're absolutely right, but we also have to realize that it goes back and forth, right? You might get to acceptance and tomorrow you're not, right? And you need to be patient with yourself. You need to be forgiving of yourself. You need to, keep marching on and do it in your way on your time. So thanks for that very, very good comment from Alita. I got to meet Alita at Social Media Marketing World. What an amazing, positive soul. If you're not following Alita, you have to forgive me if I mispronounce your last name, Miguela, Migela. She's a wonderful, positive. Mark, what you're doing here today is golden. I will be forever grateful for your guidance during this difficult time. Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say, but it's just a small thing that I need to be doing right now. Lindsay Carlson says it's about belonging, and right now, just being with your island, isn't it? Lindsay is referring to a metaphor I used in the Marketing Rebellion to identify your island. Your customer self-selecting into like-minded islands somewhere in our world. Probably right now it's online in Facebook groups, maybe Slack communities, Twitter chats, maybe LinkedIn groups, and this is a great place for you to be connecting with them in a human way, in a very emotionally intelligent way. So Lindsay, very, very wise insight there. And thanks for the reference to the Marketing Rebellion book. So I think I'd like to keep it a little bit around 30 minutes. I think that's a good time. I know people are really busy right now. You're to keep your business going, or you're trying to work from home with kids crawling all over you. And I think 30 minutes is a good time for everybody. So thank you. If it helped you, please share it with others. I mean, my idea here is that if I've got a message that's useful, let's make it useful to as many people as we can. And thank you. I'm going to be doing this on Tuesdays and Fridays, same time, 10 a.m. And thank you so much. Hang in there, everyone, and dispense hope.